Morning. Good morning. Hello, friends. How are you this morning? Happy Thursday morning. We're back here on a Thursday morning. I'm so excited to be with you. Um, if you're joining me live, let me know if you're seeing some technical difficulties. I'm seeing some on my end, so on the Facebook end. So let me know if you're seeing that on your end as well. And let me know if you're joining me live. Just put a comment in here. Hopefully I can see them today. And if you're watching this on replay, make sure you type replay in the comments and so that I can come back and say hi to you. If you've got any questions about this video or about anything that I talk about, feel free to put those comments in the video and we will address them in a future live. So I am so excited to talk to you today because here's my question for you today. Is your business crumbling around you and you don't even know it? Let's hope not, right? But it's a question that we need to ask. Are there gaps in our business? Are there things in our business that we need to strengthen so that it doesn't crumble around us? So, several years ago, when I moved back from Florida to St. Louis, I decided that I was going to buy a house. And I had fallen in love with the old style craftsman style house. And there's a neighborhood in South St. Louis that has these gorgeous houses. You know, it's got the stained glass and the beautiful woodwork and the molding and the arches. And they just don't build them like that anymore. And I loved it. So I wanted to buy a house in that neighborhood. So it took a long time, but I finally found the house for me, and I was so excited. I bought it, I moved in, I lived in it for a while, and you know what happens as you start living in it for a while? You start seeing things. Well, one of the things that I noticed about this house is that some of the mortar, the things that hold the brick together, this was an all brick house, so the mortar in the red brick was starting to disintegrate. Now, this was an 85-year-old house, so not surprising, but I started noticing and I would see little cracks here or just deterioration there. Sometimes there were bigger gaps, but honestly, I just thought it was cosmetic. So I just kind of ignored it. And because I didn't really know what to do, so I just kind of went along with it. And so I just kind of ignored it and just thought it was cosmetic and we would just kind of deal with it later sometime. I don't know. But I didn't really do much about it. But then I had to bring out a professional roofer to help me with some roof problems I was having. And as he was up on the roof, he saw that the chimney that was up there, which was one of the other things I loved about this house, the fireplace and the chimney. But the chimney and the bricks in the mortar in the chimney were really bad, like to the point where he said, "I'm surprised this hasn't fallen clear off." Wow, that was a big wake up call. Like all of a sudden, I now knew that this mortar issue was a problem and now it was a safety issue. So now I needed to pay attention. It had gotten big. So I brought a tuck pointer out, who is somebody who patches those holes and fixes that mortar to make it stronger, to hold a lot longer. I brought a tuck pointer out to fix all that for me. So I got it fixed, and I'm so grateful that I did so that I didn't have a safety issue, but it also looked a lot better, and it made the whole house look nicer and stronger. So, how does this relate to your business? Well, every business, there's no business that doesn't have room for improvement, right? There's always something that we can do better, get better at, fortify, make stronger, and it is definitely a wise thing to do to take a regular look at your business from a clear and objective point of view. What are those things that maybe are those chinks or those little cracks or those little deteriorations that may not as strong as you are? So when we take that time to look at it and not ignore it like I was ignoring my house, when we take a time to look at it, then we can figure out what we got to do to make it better. So again, welcome to all those who are joining me live. We are talking about patching the gaps in our business. So what are the things in our business that might be those chinks? You can answer this for your business, and you're the only one who can answer this for your business. But things that I've heard from people, so maybe the accounting. Um, Most of us did not get into business to do accounting unless you are an accountant. And doing the bookkeeping and doing the invoicing is not our idea of fun necessarily. So, but what are those things that we could be doing Are you sending out invoices regularly? Are you taking care of your accounts regularly so that you're ready at year end so that you can manage your business with wise money decisions? Is that a gap? What about marketing? Do you have a solid marketing plan? Do you know how to reach your ideal client and what to say to them? Admin help, having some support in the back office and making sure that things are running smoothly even when you're out doing what you do. So there's a lot of areas, and we could go on and on, truly. There's a lot of areas in our business that we can be looking at to see if there are places where we can strengthen it up a little bit. So now here's the thing. How do we even know? How do we know what we're looking at? How did I know that mortar was a problem, that mortar deteriorating was a problem? Well, I didn't know. And I didn't think it was a big deal until I had a professional, until I had an objective perspective help me figure that out. So there's a lot of ways that we can look at this. And there are two functional areas, two foundational areas that I see businesses really struggling and really not even recognize it. First one is understanding clear on their own brand identity, and the second is how they deliver on that brand consistently. So brand, and I say this all the time, but I'm going to say it again, brand is more than just your logo. That is a part of your brand, but your brand is really your identity, your essence, your who you are as a business. That is your brand, and that becomes your logo and your brand promise and living out your brand through your systems. But so understanding that essence, what makes you different? How are you set up? How are you intending to impact the world? How are you looking to change and transform people's lives and businesses? How do people experience you? All of that is part of your brand identity. What are your motivations and drivers? What's your why? Why are you doing what you're doing? You as a person, but also you as a company. I have a client who has gone through the group coaching program, the Scale Your Brand Method group coaching program. And we really dug in on her why and her motivation and why she was even doing what she was doing beyond just wanting to be successful. We dug in, and I tell you what that did is it opened up so much passion and so many opportunities for vision and understanding what she could do and how she could really impact the world. Just understanding that little part of her brand identity helped her figure out how she could better connect with people, how she could better communicate. It even shifted a little bit the direction her business was going because we figured out her why. We now knew her motivation and her purpose and why she was doing the work she was doing, and that influenced everything. It's such a powerful experience, and that why is just one little part of what we look at in the Scale Your Brand method. But understanding that bigger picture of that brand identity. Then it's how do we communicate that? So now we know who we are, but how do we communicate it and who do we communicate it to? Who are those people that we can absolutely best help? That's actually part of your identity as well. Helping everybody is not a great marketing plan because it's too vague and people don't know that you can solve their problems. But if you can get clear on who you help the best, who are the people who you enjoy working with the most? Who can you help the most? And who are the most profitable? Who are the people willing to pay you what you're worth because they understand the value that you're bringing? And then once we know that, how are we communicating to them? Like, where are we communicating to them? What are we saying to them? So that's another part of that brand identity that we've got to figure out so that chink, so those cracks in that business can be solid and make our business that much stronger. And then the third part is living that brand out. And this is the secret sauce to what Lone Orange does. It's taking the promises that you've made from your brand identity and living up to it, essentially. It's about your client experience. Is your client experience consistent? Is it powerful? Is it predictable? Like people know what to expect from you? Or is it different every time they connect with you? I've got a client who was going through the private coaching sessions of the Live Your Brand, or excuse me, of the Scale Your Brand method. And we were working on the systems. So we had gotten through the brand identity, we had gotten through the communication, and now we were really honing in on those systems. And she had a team that she was trying to grow, but everybody was doing things a little bit differently because they did it according to their way. So what we took all of her systems, figured out all the things that she and her team needed to be doing, and documented how she wanted them done according to her company, according to her brand identity, so that that brand identity and the customer experience matched. And those systems have made such a difference because her team now is saying, oh my gosh, well, some of this I was doing already, but now I know the things I was missing, the gaps that I was missing. And so having those systems in place and having the owner say, these are the things that I need you to be doing, helped communicate that to the team. And therefore, the client experience was now consistent and predictable and powerful. And it wasn't going to be watered down depending on what team member was delivering. It was going to be consistent. That's the key here, the consistency, so that clients know what to expect and know that they can trust you to deliver on what you've said. So these are the biggest foundational chinks. There are a gazillion chinks that we could talk about. But right now, just thinking about the foundation, like having these things in place and having these things shored up and having these cracks filled in and filling in these gaps can make your business so much stronger. So where are your weaknesses? Where are your strengths? Where are you really strong, but where do you need a little bit of help? Where do you need to spend some time thinking and honing where you are and who you are and how you're communicating to the people that you can best help? And where are those? What about those systems? Do you have those systems in place so that you don't have to recreate the wheel every time, that your team doesn't have to figure out what you want them to do? All of this is important, but I will say it's hard to see sometimes on our own because we're just too close to it. So having somebody kind of hold up a mirror to reflect to us what we need to see is super important. So having, just like I had to bring out the roofer to show me what the problem was. He wasn't there to talk to me about mortar. He was there to talk to me about the roof. Luckily, though, he pointed that out to me so that I could do what I had to do to get it fixed. So sometimes having that outside perspective, having a professional come in and show us what we need to work on is super powerful. I've created a tool, though, to help people figure out in these three key areas, the knowing your identity, the communicating it, and being able to live it out in the B by being that brand. I've created the Brand Insights Quiz. So this quiz takes you less than 5 minutes. It's so easy and so fun, because who doesn't love a fun quiz? But it takes you down these three sections to figure out where are your weakest points, where are your strengths, and what do you do about it? So you take that quiz in 5 minutes or less, and instantly in your inbox you have a report that tells you exactly the areas that you're weaker and stronger in. And it gives you some tips on what to do about that. So I invite you, if you're wondering about those chinks in your business, in your brand identity, in your systems, take the Brand Insights Quiz today. It's free, it's fun, it's quick, and you get some amazing insights just from this little quiz. It's a super useful tool, especially if you suspect that there might be some weaknesses in your identity or even understanding who you are, how you're communicating that today. So take the quiz. I would love to see you take the quiz, and then in there's an invitation to talk to me more about it so we can talk about a brand action plan. But right now, just take the quiz, and that will give you so much information. So I hope that's helpful. I hope you take a few minutes today to look at your business and kind of from an objective perspective and see where those weaknesses might be, where you could tuck point your business a little bit and patch those gaps. And I will look forward to seeing you next Thursday. Until next time, have a stellar day. Bye.